community, especially students and maybe teachers who are interested in the Samaritan in terms of paper 2. So today we are going to explore 3 more excerpts. And of course, we've already explored more earlier. If you checked on the channel, you've seen some other excerpts that we handled. Now today we'll begin with chapter Act 2 of the text. We go by other parts of the text. So I'm going to read the excerpt, and of course I'll have to show it. Welcome to the channel. Share my videos, like my videos, and you can go through the rest of the videos and check what is on it. Specific live is targeting students and students in Kenya particularly, because they are the ones who handle the Samaritan in paper 2 for this year 2024. Now last year, as I told you, we tried to predict by going through a series of excerpts, and lucky enough we got one of them coming from Unit 5 of Fathers of Nations. Now this year we turn the wheels and go to the Samaritan. You may never know. Maybe something we'll be discussing here might come your way. The questions might be a bit different, but not so far from what we are discussing, because if they pick excerpts from what the text itself, the reasoning is all the same. Yeah, we base on parts of the text where we have cause effect, kind of conflict resolution, and maybe a choice and such a choice that might bring some consequences. So let's go through the first excerpt. My excerpt starts as follows, and I'll be showing the camera so that in case you want to look at it, you can actually go to the Samaritan, open your book, and look at it. So we are in Act 2. This excerpt is carried from Act 2. You can go check the specific pages. I don't have the text with me for me to show you the specific page, but as a student, I know you can go to the text and open that the book. So our excerpt is as follows. I'll be reading as you look through. Imwa starts, turning to Honorable Ramdai. You indicated that you were in talks with Honorable Basdeo. Did he agree to work with us? Ramdai says, yes, I spoke to him. He was very eager to work with us. I told you it was him who approached me with the idea of impeaching Mayor Mosi. At that time, he didn't know we had already made that decision. He promised to be here by this time. He should be coming in any time. Saimwa says, so how does he want us to work together? Ramdai says, it will be a coalition of Indos and all chamber members of mixed ethnicities. He will mobilize for you, pointing at Saimwa. As mayor, right? As a member of the so-called Dagla, our hope is that chamber members of Indo and Afro descent will readily accept you as a compromise candidate. Saimwa says, did he spell out any conditions for the land? This part should be on the next page, right? On the next line. Now, Ramdai answers and says, yes, that one, you became mayor. You will immediately appoint him deputy mayor. Ted says, walking towards the door. Come on, guys, that's a breakthrough. Let's go to the bar for the beer to celebrate. I have a terrible hangover to cure. I need a cold caribou too. The knob of the door clicks. The door opens and the political opposition chief, Honorable Basdeo, enters. As usual, he is smartly dressed in the Shawani suit. The quartet shakes hands. Ramdai addressing Honorable Basdeo. We were waiting for you. I have briefed them about our discussions. Your appointment as deputy mayor is guaranteed. The next step, now that you are here, is to agree on the grounds of the vote of no confidence. Basdeo says, I think that doesn't matter at this stage. Ted says, really? Basdeo answers and says, of course. What we need at this point is to alienate Mayor Mosi from the people. You see? If people have sympathy for him, we will not succeed. So, the next step is to set the people against him. Seymour says that makes good sense. Ted responds and says, how do you propose to do this? Basdeo answers and says, we will get a few speakers, the most articulate, to incite the people. Seymour then responds and says, so what issues do we address in order to incite the people? Ramdae answers, the need for equitable development in Maracas. Mayor Mosi is not a development-minded. We will talk about building roads. He has not built even a spoor. In fact, he is interrupted by Basdeo. Basdeo says, gentlemen, development issues will neither incite nor excite the people. You need to excite people's emotions if you are to incite them. Tell them things that will annoy them, or issues that will make them afraid, and they will follow you obediently like little puppies. Give them an enemy to hate and blame for their problems, and they'll be on your side. Ramdaya says, how do you do that? All right, so the questions, I'll be going through questions without showing the answers, and I'll be just saying them, then I'll show the answers later so that we reason together. I hope you have your text now, and you have opened the exact part where the excerpt comes from. I wish I had my text here. I would actually show the pages. Next time I'll be carrying my text here. And I'm sorry again, though I booked this for 5, I was supposed to start at 5 dots, but I delayed because I had done another live stream on a different channel and I was a bit tired. So I had to rest, take a breath before I proceed. You know, sometimes it's important. So thank you for coming on board once more. Like the video once you come in. You can show thumbs up. And in case there is an area you want me to clarify, you can chat and show that concern. In case you need maybe a repetition of a concept, you can also do the same. You are free to do so. Don't be tied by what I'm doing. And you might have a suggestion too, maybe towards a question. Be free to do so. All right, so students, I hope you are ready. So we are proceeding with this before we can go to my answers. So you are free to also think, right? So the first question is, what happens immediately before the excerpt? Immediately before. For you to get the answer for this, and that is 4 marks, you have to kind of think of the characters within this excerpt. Who are we talking about? And who might have spoken before the first character in this excerpt? You must also think about what is their concern. Why would they be coming together and discussing? What would be actually pressing them to hold such a meeting? Yeah. And you must also think about, is there a proposal they had earlier, right? And what is the proposal, what is the take or what is the flow? So having thought about it, the first answer here, I would wish to have maybe suggestion given, but the fact that I'm not seeing anybody responding, then I go ahead and give you the responses. So the fact, or rather, things that happened before the excerpt, number 1, Ted, Seymour, and Ramdai meet to assess the situation that is pending before them after they had differences with Mayor Mosi in the former meeting. Number 2, they know that Mayor might actually imprison them, so they realize the situation is bad and they must go for votes for them to impeach the mayor. And the votes might be unpredictable. Number 3, they think they can enlist the support of opposition chief Honorable Basdeo so that people allied to him can follow suit, right? Number 4, they are working toward 2/3 majority. Did you see that? So I hate to start with what is surrounding their situation, and that is the fact that they are meeting to assess how they can actually hold a vote of no confidence in the mayor after he had threatened to put them in jail over corrupt matters. The second issue is that they realize that the situation is difficult because voting process for the vote of no confidence is very unpredictable. The third thing you should know that they have thought of enlisting the help of Honorable Basdeo because once he comes to their side, they'll have people who support him following suit. And the last thing is that they are working with the two-thirds majority. So they are focusing on actually having two-thirds majority. And once they have that, they'll make it, right? Okay. Now we can go to the second question. And the second question reads as follows. How are the following characters portrayed in the excerpt, right? Many students make a mistake of choosing other places far from the excerpt. Now, the question specifically wants in the excerpt. And the characters focused are Ramdai and Seimwa. So do you have, we have three characters, Basdeo, Seima, Ramdai. So you just have to give one character for each and illustrate for you to score the 6 marks. The reality is that most times in exams we are asked to give 2 characters. But in this paper, we decided to have 3 characters set. Now, when you go back to the excerpt and you are trying to give character traits, make sure your illustration is quite clearly showing you that that character trait is valid, right? Validity can be tested by seeing the exact illustration clear. Now, Ramdae from the excerpt, Cynthia Wambui, welcome on board. Thank you so much for being the first to chat. Others have been coming, but they're not chatting. And welcome. You can give the like to the video, thumbs up. And in case you have a question to raise, you can ask, right? Thank you. I've seen you here again various times listening to the discussion surrounding literature. Because on this channel, I normally do different stuff. I do reaction. I do my own vlogs, and at the same time, I do education. It is what it is. You understand? So let's go to the first character trait of Ramdai. Ramdai from the excerpt, you can clearly see that he's a hopeful person or optimistic. Why do I say so? Let's go back to the excerpt. There is a part he says he hopes the coalition will work, you know. Let's see the part itself. Yeah, he said here, I hope the coalition will work. So Ramdai is a hopeful person. He also says, our hope is that the chamber members of Indo and Afro origin will help us, you know. So that one shows that he's optimistic. He's optimistic or hopeful. So let's get if, in case we have another character trait. Charles Njuguna is asking, kwani unatumia techno? Why are you asking? Is it not clear? Because I'm using Nokia. I don't have techno. What is that? Why are you asking that? Maybe let me know. Do you mean that there is no clarity, or what is the problem? Let me know. Because I'm using Nokia. I don't have techno. So I don't know why you are asking whether I'm using techno. But I think the camera is quite clear. I cleared it the other day. Low quality streaming. Njuguna is saying that. Is it actually showing some cloudy or what? Let me just check, because I've done a live stream earlier on this channel and it was clear. I also did on another channel, Live Saga TV, and it was clear. Let me just check, because I don't know why. Maybe, let me check. Maybe the network, unless it's the network issue. Let me hope that it will be better. You can respond if the quality is better, because I'm also checking on the computer to see. Okay, so Charles has said it's much clearer. Possibly it was the network thing, and I'm hoping that it will not continue flopping us. So let's proceed. We were just talking, we were addressing the third question. We were addressing before we had a challenge here. So let's go to the character trait of Seima. I don't know whether you've seen another character trait of Ramdae, because I only saw one character trait of Ramdae as a hopeful person. Maybe we can also say he's reliable, because the second conversation, Basdeo, Seima asks, did you talk to Basdeo? And Ramdae says, yes, I spoke to him. He was very eager to work with us. That means that he's also reliable, because whatever they discuss is what they had to hold. Again, I may get which other character trait here. Let me try to see. Yeah, again, reliability comes from the part whereby Ramdae is actually addressing Basdeo and telling him, we were waiting for you. I have briefed them about our discussion. Your appointment as deputy mayor is guaranteed. Are you seeing? So that is what makes him reliable, right? Okay. Now we can go to the second character who is in the question, and that is Seima. The first character trait I got for Seima is inquisitive. Inquisitive person asks a lot of questions. Now I want you to see this excerpt, and you realize that in the excerpt, actually, Seima is asking a lot of questions. Let us see the first question they ask. Seima asks, in the entire excerpt, the first statement is a question. Did he agree to work with us? He goes later to ask another question. So, how does he want us to work together? Again, later he asks, did he spell out any conditions for the alliance? And we see later he says, so what issues do we address in order to incite the people? All right? So we realize that Seima is inquisitive. We can also say that he's keen because he listens to what Basdeo, Ted, and Seima discussing, and actually understands what they are saying, right? So he is also keen. When we look at Basdeo is tactful. Why? He knows that he wants to join this group, but he asks them to make him the deputy mayor. That is very tactful, right? We can also say he's selfish because he sees the need to eliminate or alienate Mayor Mosi. Now, I want you to see the example here, what Basdeo had suggested. He said, gentlemen, development issues will neither incite nor excite the people. You need to excite the people's emotions if you are to incite them. Tell them things that will annoy them or issues that will make them afraid, and they'll follow you. Obediently like puppies. Give them an enemy to hate. And which enemy are they forwarding here? Mayor Mosi. So that part makes him a bit selfish but tactful at the same time, because politics is a dirty game that needs people to be very tactful and selfish at the same time, you know. He also seems to be informed because he knows how politics works. He knows that in politics, you need to create an enemy for somebody for you to win. The third question is, using your knowledge from elsewhere in the text, that is the Samaritan, apart from the excerpt, explain why these people want to impeach the mayor. Now, this one requires you as a candidate to have knowledge of some other parts of the text away from the excerpt, right? And that is why I say, as a candidate, can you read that text even 5 times at least? Don't only read with the teacher in class once and analyze and forget about it. Read it another time so that you can follow the story to the latter, internalize, you know. And now, here, of course, when you look at the text and you want to see why it was impeached, you have to go back to Act 1, Scene 2. You remember what happened in the meeting? You have to go back to that meeting in Act 1, Scene 2, right? And when you go back to Act 1, Scene 2 of the text within your memory, these are the things you will see that make these people want to impeach mayor. First, the mayor and his team noticed that the Samaritan was a threat that allowed people to expose ills in the municipality. Number 2, the opposition and the mayor's team met, but they never came up with an agreement because while the opposition was suggesting that the mayor has to acquire money from a supplementary budget and misallocate towards the cases pending towards within the that is the Maracas, the mayor rejected that suggestion. Another point is that the mayor expressed interest to arrest Ted and Seymour, amongst other allies, especially because of having engaged in corrupt aspects that have made them rich. He particularly pointed them out, saying that they'll have to explain how they enrich themselves from being jigger-infested hoodlums to the rich people who now drive the state-of-art cars and live as, a spendthrift life, The other thing is that the opposition decided to work against the mayor's team and even held rallies which were interfered or rather aborted by the mayor. So you can see those options. We have an option of the Samaritan exposing ills. We have a meeting that never worked because while the opposition wanted money allocated, the Mosi rejected that offer, saying that they'll put him in more problems. Then the opposition decided to go and hold rallies, which mayor aborted. Now he believes that he should arrest them, whereas the mayor believes that he should actually put them in prison. So I hope you've got the 4 points. We can go to the 4th question. Identify and explain any 2 stylistic devices used in this excerpt, and we have 4 marks. Of course, when you go through the excerpt, you'll get so many stylistic devices. I'll give more than 2. The first stylistic device is ellipsis. Of course, you saw where Basdeo interrupted. Was it Basdeo? Yeah. Basdeo interrupted Ramdai. So he stopped at in fact, and we have the ellipsis right there. Another style is irony. Where is irony? And remember, when you are expressing irony as a student, make sure that you say it is ironical that, or you show this is this, yet this is this, right? So it is ironical that Ted and his group are stressed, and while still making proposals, Ted runs to want to celebrate and take some beer. Yet they have not succeeded yet. Are you seeing? So we have the counter of celebration before success. You can also give another irony where you'll say that whereas Ted and his team are proposing to oust mayor out of office, they are not suitable for leadership because what they are proposing is actually personal, to serve their personal interests. So you can say Ted, Basdeo, Ramdai, and Seymour are meeting to discuss how they can change Maracas, yet they are not working perfectly towards the good of Maracas. We umeitwa nini? Nimekuita hata all right. So let's move on to another style that is propping up in this excerpt, and that is simile. There is a simile which it says, whereby we can see, is it Ramdai saying that they will follow because they are obedient like little puppies. Now remember, candidates, if you are answering a simile, never should you say, don't write only from like. Are you getting? Similes are supposed to be complete. He is greedy like a hyena. He is as tall as a giraffe. Don't just say like a giraffe. That one is not a simile, right? So make sure you lift the entire simile when you are giving us in the exam. Okay? Now, let's see if there is another style. I don't know. I've gotten 3 already. Maybe you have onomatopoeia. Onomatopoeia. Like there is clicks. Yeah, there is clicks in the excerpt. I saw it somewhere. So that's another style. Now let's go to the next question. We are into 26 minutes and we need to finish our 1 hour. All right, so let's proceed to another style, and the style will be another question. What is Basdeo's response to Ramdae's question at the end of the excerpt? That is indirectly like asking you to tell us what happened after the excerpt. But now we are focused on what Basdeo said, right? Now, if you look at the text, this one requires that you internalize the text. And from the text, we are told that Basdeo says they will just say they want him out. And it's because he has been earmarked. All the money allocated to the municipality, to the development of the wards, have been squandered. You see? That is the response. So, Basdeo actually sees that people will just accept because they realize that money allocated to the municipality has been squandered, so they'll follow. The next question is, yes, that once you become a mayor, you will immediately appoint him deputy mayor. Rewrite the sentence to include no sooner. That is a grammar question. You have to be very careful about it. Yes, no sooner will you become a mayor than you will appoint him deputy mayor. All right? No sooner will you become a mayor than you will appoint him deputy mayor. That is the answer. The last question is on meanings of words, and I told you the meanings of words are answered by getting a synonym, because we want to maintain the tense, the word class, and such. So impeaching is the first word, the second is compromise, the third is articulate, and the fourth is alienate. So the word impeaching is arraigning someone out of office or pulling someone out of office, something related to that. Compromise. Hey, today bundles, bwana. Hey. The internet is shaky. The internet today is shaky because I'm loading something on Premiere and at the same time I'm working on this live stream. So that is why it's giving low quality. I'm so sorry for that. But let's continue. Now, I had talked about the vocabulary. We had impeaching, compromise, articulate, alienate. Compromise, impeaching is to removing someone from office or arraigning someone from power, right? Or indicting. Compromise, have concession, have negotiation, or have cooperation in. Articulate, communicate clearly, eloquently, or coherently. Alienate, isolate or distance, right? Let's go to the second excerpt. The second excerpt now comes from Act 1. It comes from Act 1. So I normally pick excerpts from different acts every time I do an analysis here. Now for this one, we'll go through very fast, but let me help you to see through the notes just in case. Yeah, so I think you can see right there. Some answers might not happen here because I've added others while talking. So you might also have to compare to what I discussed. Like I added here onomatopoeia. I also added here some information. And when I came here, I also considered more. I also added here arraigning from power, indicting or removing from power. Speaking clearly, speak clearly, speak eloquently, speak coherently. Why am I doing this? Last year's KCSE marking became a different experience. The fact that some students may have similarity of answers, which suggest that maybe someone helped them, pushed neck to add a word somewhere on vocabulary. And that's why I'll encourage you to at least add some word that is giving weight to your vocabulary, unlike what you have been doing previously. As we always say, KCSE keeps changing because tactics, they say when the hunter learns to shoot without missing, the eagle learns to fly without perching, right? Okay, so let's go to the second excerpt. This one comes from Act 1. I hope you know Act 1. No, this one is not Act 1. This one is a different act. If it is the same act, I'll have to skip. Yeah, it is the same act, so let me skip that one and get a different one. I want to get a different act so that we don't repeat the same act. Yeah, this one is Act 1, Scene 3. Yeah, let's go through this one with you. You remember the act where Nicole was visited by Alvita and Montano? That is the act, all right? So, Nicole, looking at Montano and Alvita alternatively. You see, I like the idea of the Samaritan. Do you remember what happened in the parable of the Good Samaritan? Alvita says, yes, mistress. Robbers attacked a Jewish man. They beat him up, robbed him, and left him for the dead by the roadside. Nicole says, turning to Montano, then what happened, Montano? Montano says, a priest passed by. He saw the injured man lying by the roadside. Even though he was a religious man working in our Maker's house, he did not help the man. He ignored him and went on his way. Nicole asks, facing Alvita, and then? Alvita says, and then came the Levite. He was a religious man too, and the Levites worked as assistants to the priests. He also did not stop to help the man. Nicole says, then? Montano answers, next came the Samaritan, a Samaritan, though holding a different view of religion, and despite the hostility between Jews and Samaritans, he treated the man with comparison, dressed him compassion. I think this one is compassion. With compassion, dressed his wounds and took him to a safe place. Nicole says, you inspired me by naming your innovation the Samaritan. It made me realize that people of our municipality are like the Jewish man in many ways. We are beaten, stripped, robbed, and left for the dead. And the people whom we would expect to help us, our leaders and our public officials, cannot come to our aid. They are all like a priest and the Levite in the story. They only talk about pursuing public interest without ever being genuinely committed to it. The shepherds have turned against the sheep. So, who will help us? It is up to us without any claim to any office to be the Samaritan, to be one another's keeper, and to take care of one another. And you know that. You know what? All right. So let's go to the first question, and this one I'll be a bit quick because I've already handled the first questions so that we finish within 1 hour. though I'll not rush also. And if you tell me to pause, I'll pause. All right. So the first question is, why was Nicole and the students talking about the Good Samaritan? For you to answer this question, you have to know much about Act 1, Scene 3. You have to know about it. And it is a whole discussion about the Good Samaritan biblically, right? So we want 4 marks from you. And you must know about that discussion in Act 1, Scene 3. That is why I normally send back students to read the text. Sometimes students come to me, they want to clarity. I tell them, have you read the book? You don't seem to. Go back and read. Now help me, answer with me. And they do understand, right? So the first answer is that the students under the supervision of teacher Nicole had come up with the Samaritan app. Yeah. They planned to launch the Samaritan app, but it was put off by the mayor and his members when they had come last to school. Students visit the teacher a new year to determine why their app was not being supported, and also to discourage her from pursuing it because the municipal leaders are not happy. Nicole informs them that they shouldn't give up on it so easily because it was a good thing. But the leaders rejected it, just like it happened in the Bible. All right, I hope you followed that. Now, the second question is, identify and explain a dominant theme in the excerpt. When you are asked about a dominant theme, we want one. Just one. Don't give us guesses because you will not score. We want only one and one. Now, if you look through the entire excerpt, what main idea is the author trying to pass by sharing the aspect of the Good Samaritan, the Levite, the Jews, and that? It is about hypocrisy. Yeah, it's hypocrisy. The priest and the Levite, despite being religious, they had acted hypocritically by leaving the injured man and walking away to church, right? Yeah, and that is exactly how the leaders of Maracas are also acting. The third question is, what does Nicole mean when she says that the shepherds have turned against the sheep? That one is simply asking you to interpret as a metaphor. So have you understood all the metaphors in that book? All right. So it simply means that the leaders in Maracas have turned away from the masses, that is the citizens, and they are no longer doing what is right for them. What is that now? Now, the next question is, what tone does Nicole use in talking about the role of the Samaritan app? Remember, when you are asked a question on tone, it is towards something, right? 3 marks. The tone is hopeful, optimistic, or of optimism, or of hope. Are you getting? So when you are handling hope, if you decide to use optimism or hope, you must say of hope. But when the right way is using adjectives, optimistic or hopeful. Now, illustration to that is important. So you say that she believes the app is an excellent platform for everyone, and it will give an opportunity to correct the wrongs in the society. The next question is, what do we learn about municipality from the excerpt? Of course, we learn that they are very selfish and lack interest in the goodwill of the citizens. They are not ready to help the citizens. Nicole compares them with the Jewish men in the excerpt. The next question is, what is it that Nicole wants Alvita and Montano to know? 3 marks. Now, this one you have to know from the text. And the first point is that the Samaritan is an excellent app for everyone, and it offers a chance for them to speak out against the wrong, and also share ideas to improve lives in Maracas. The second thing that she wants them to know is that it is just good to continue focusing on a right purpose, yeah, to care about the rest of the people in the municipality and not only themselves. And the last one is that the app will change the history of Maracas. The grammar question, and then came the Levite. He was a religious man too, as Levites worked as assistants to the priests. Use relative pronoun to make it one sentence. Of course, you know what relative pronouns are, so our answer will be, and then came the Levite who was a religious man as he worked as an assistant to the priests. The next question is explain the meaning of the following words as used in the excerpt, and we have targeted 3 words: hostility, platform, and genuinely. So hostility is equal to enmity. Enmity. Platform is like avenue. And then genuinely is honestly, frankly, or sincerely, right? We have the third excerpt to go, but my bundles are flying. Hey, guys, today the bundles are bundling. You know, I was loading something which is almost 1 hour and something. A lesson actually that will help people want to revise English at large. Because I felt that during my discussion with the other students, I recorded that last session and I put it on here. So tomorrow by 10, you can be listening to it from 10 to somewhere 11 something. All right, so let's proceed, and I'll show you the notes before we proceed. The notes are here, but I've added more information. Okay, so let's go to the third excerpt, and I wish that the third excerpt should come from Act 3. Let me come from Act 3. I want an excerpt from Act 3. Let me just look around here. Yes, I don't know. All right, I've got one. I think this one is Act 3, if I'm not wrong. Act 3 scene 1. Or is it Act 2 scene? Act 3. Yeah, I should get from Act 3 or 4. Yeah, this one can be suitable. This excerpt here is suitable because I wanted to take from different parts of the text. I don't like picking excerpts on one discussion from one part. So look at this one. Look at this one. Narine, breathing heavily. Show them in. The visitors file in, led by Justice Jaden and followed by Mayor Mosi, Mr. Harvester, Inspector Bembe, Honorable Seimwa, Honorable Ted, Honorable Ramdae, and Honorable Basdeo. All right. If you have the text, you know where it comes from. All right. The guests shake hands with Principal and Nicole. They all take seats. That is the last actor. They take seats around the table except the principal who remains standing. After all are settled, she clears her throat. That is the principal. And what does she say? Your worship, honorable gentlemen, as you requested, I have arranged for your meeting with Teacher Nicole. I had planned to attend a crucial school matter today. I had planned to attend to crucial school matters today. I will not, therefore, be able to sit with you. I do hope, however, that you will have a conclusive meeting so that we can avoid future meetings that disturb the smooth running of the school. Thank you. So there is silence as Narine, with heavy footsteps or footfalls, walks out of the boardroom. Nicole looks apprehensive and says, so, to whom do I owe the honor of receiving you here? Jaden says, clearing his throat, all is well, Nicole. On behalf of my colleagues, I beg your pardon for our intrusion into your school busy schedule. Bembe says, before your lordship can go any further, I would like to apologize to Nicole for the misunderstanding that led to her arrest and arraignment in court. I have thought the whole incident and I have realized the mistake was mine. I am very sorry. Mosi says, my apologies to Nicole. Sometimes I tread on people's toes in the course of my duty, but it's never personal. Nicole says, looking somewhat puzzled, there was never anything personal in the matter of the Samaritan. It was just a school project by two of our students. The party looks at one another. Nonetheless, I accept your apologies, and I also apologize if I offended any one of you. All right? So I hope if you get the book, you can get the specific pages. I promise next time I'll be looking for the text. I don't know whether I left it at school, but if it's around the house, I'll look for it. Yeah. So the first question is, put the excerpt in its immediate context. Students, if you are listening to me, please, when you see this question, in your answer, write clearly before. Then write your points if there are 3 points or 4. Then after, write your points if there are 3 or 4. And you can write even more, because if you are not so sure, what about that? But if you are sure, just give the exact. Now it's 4 marks, meaning 2 for before, 2 for after. Do you have any idea about the answer that you would fit here? As for me, this is my thought. Before. Before, point 1. Nareen condemns Nicole for insisting to pursue the Samaritan app because it is affecting the learning process. The second point. Nareen tells Nicole that hope for change is quite overambitious because fighting leaders in the first place can be catastrophic, and it can also lead to problems, yet it will not change the society. After, Nicole questions whether Nareen is willing, this is still before. Nicole questions whether Nareen is willing to allow slavery to plunder them. Then Nicole says the principal, that is Nareen, says she's only in charge of the student. Now let's look at after. All right, after. So after, Ted hands over a ring to Nicole as a reward. Point 2. Nicole rejects the ring, saying she doesn't put on such. Are you seeing? We have those two. And you can also add that Jaden speaks, indicating that they had a meeting and agreed to have her come on board and, enhance their leadership in the municipality. Now let's go on to a different question. A different question, or question 2, is what two themes are shown in the excerpt? And of course, you illustrate. The first theme is anxiety or fear. We see that Nareen and Nicole are apprehensive the moment the municipal leaders come in. The second theme is reconciliation. We realize that the Maracas municipality are actually apologizing, and Nicole is doing the same, right? Yeah, so we see those two, anxiety or fear, and we also see reconciliation. Let's look whether we can see another theme here. We can talk about education, because actually the fact that they are in school, and the first statement Nareen says is, I have planned to attend to crucial social school matters, can tell us that we have the theme of education. Then we can see that there is also injustice, because Bembe suggests that he had arraigned Nicole in court and he knew that it was his mistake, which means there was injustice. Those two. The next question is, state and explain any 2 aspects of style in the excerpt or extract. And we have so many, but I'll give the few that I can manage. The first one, we have idiom, tread on people's toes. Then we have flashback. Bembe recalls how he arrested Nicole. I think he interrupts by going back to the previous part. We can also see, what else do we have here? We have onomatopoeia, puzzled, clears, all right? I think those are the styles I can see here. Then we have, the next question is, how are the following characters portrayed in the extract? And that is Mossy and Nicole. Mossy, of course, you can look through the excerpt, you can see he is remorseful or apologetic because he says, my apologies too. He is also insensitive or callous because he says he sometimes treads on people's toes in the course of the duty. We could also say he's violent because if he treads people's toes, what does he mean? You know? Nicole is forgiving because he accepts the apologies and is also apologetic or remorseful. He says she's sorry. She says that she's sorry in case she messed with any of them. She's also very firm because she still says that the project is nothing personal. And she's, what else can we say here? I think just that. The next question is, what is the attitude of Narine towards the guests? Explain. I think the attitude is of disapproval or disapproving attitude. Because she says clearly, I do hope, however, that you will have to conclude the meeting so that we don't have future meetings to disturb the smooth running of the school. So that one is showing disapproval or disapproving attitude. Maybe at some level you can say contemptuous, but you support that in your way, right? The next question is, explain what happens immediately after the excerpt, and that one you should internalize the text. And what happens is that Nicole declines the offer to be the leader in the municipality, even when the leaders urge her, reassuring her that she will be fine. The next thing is that the students run into office and report the arrival of the police, and the police arrest the municipal leaders. You may decide to just get that information on that page, and that one will revolve around the fact that Nicole declines the leadership offer. You can also say that they offer an office. You can say that Mossy offers an office of the director of the municipality to her. Nicole declines, saying that what they need is the right leadership and not officers. It's not necessary that they increase the officers in the municipality. The next question is grammar question automatically. I will not, therefore, be able to sit with you. Add a question tag. So you have to establish the modal auxiliary in the question or primary auxiliary. And in this question, we have will not. All right. So that one automatically tells you give the positive and you start with a comma first. Comma, then small letter W, will I, then end with a question mark. Explain the meaning of the following words. We picked two words, arraignment and apprehensive. Now, students, if you have to excel in meanings of words, you can do that even early. And the first word is arraignment, which is legal presentation in court, whereas apprehensive is worried. So we come to an end of our discussion. Bye-bye. Tomorrow we'll be having a premiere to discuss English at large. Because when I got to interact with these specific students whom I was doing a tuition with, they actually showed their interest in particular areas in English, and I shared with them. And I felt like that sharing was very productive or fruitful to even wants to know the nitty-gritties in English and literature. So thank you, bye-bye, and great for being here.